Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Alright, tonight we are going to be taking a look at Call to Adventure, a game by Chris and Johnny O'Neill. This game, when it first came out, I completely ignored it and dismissed it. One of the reasons why was I, for the past year or so, have been seriously working on my own dungeon crawl game, and I wanted it to be called Call to Adventure, and lo and behold, this game beat me to the market by quite a while, and I was kind of mad, and I looked at it as it looks kind of boring, doesn't really look like it has like much adventure or random encounters or all of the kinds of things that I enjoy in games. But then I watched I believe it was Tom Vassel's review, and it really piqued my interest, and so I decided to get it, and I absolutely love this thing. It is such a cool game. It is basically a game, I say it's more, at least the way I play it, it is more of a tool system for generating backstories for characters. So there is a game to it, but I don't even really play it as the game. I cannot imagine actually playing this competitively as like the main game mode is designed for. There is a co-op and solo mode, and that's the way I usually play it. But even when I do that, I'm usually not focusing on the goal of winning or scoring points. I am far more focused on using this system of cards and of casting these runes as a way of generating a story for a character, and not even for a character for a certain game, just for fun. And because the game is so quick, you can play the thing in like 30 minutes and you can generate a really neat little story about a character in that amount of time. And so it's almost like you're kind of like this gaming tarot reader where you're looking at a hero's life, and you're marking the major events that go into shaping your hero's life story. And so the way that it works is, and this is kind of like a solo system here, is you first start off with a deck of origins, and you shuffle that up, and you're going to pick two origins, or you're going to be dealt two origins, and then you're going to pick one. So let's see, right now we have, we could have started off as a student, and that would give us certain bonuses. So that gives us an intelligence bonus here that we could use, and also a wisdom. So we would be, smart as being a student. And then it also gives us a way to gain experience when we take on challenges. So our origin, we could be a student or a merchant. And then the merchant also gives us intelligence, but the merchant gives us charisma. And then additionally, it also gives you a way of earning experience. So you would think, okay, do I want to start off, did my character in his or her young life, was I a student or a merchant? Or it doesn't have to be you. It could even be like maybe your parents were merchants, or you were a son or a daughter of a merchant. You grew up around merchants. I'm going to say that I was a student. And so we select that, and we put that here on our character card as our beginning origin of our character. And then let's see, the next set of cards we pick from are the motivations. So this is kind of like gives our character a direction. And we have that deck here. And again, the same thing you do is you draw two, and then you're going to pick one to be your character's motivation. So let's see what they have. We have a seeker, of truth, or we have a sworn protector. All right, so given my background as a student, I definitely think I want to pick the seeker of truth. That seems to go well with the student. So I was born lucky enough in this land to go to school, and that inspired me to live my life to try to find the truth about something. And then this gives me a way to earn, or not to earn, but to spend my experience in certain ways when I have to take challenges. So I can spend a point of experience to gain a wisdom rune when I have to cast that. All right. And then finally, we're going to pick our destiny. Once again, we take the deck of destiny cards. We're going to draw 2, and we're going to pick 1. And so let's see what our 2 destinies are. We were the High Arcanist, and then the destinies, they give you a way to earn points at the end of the game. Or Blood of the Dragon. So now we can kind of shape our story based upon, we started as a student, we were seeking the truth. Did we become the High Arcanist, or did we discover something that led to something happening about a Blood of the Dragon? Maybe the truth we sought brought us too close to some kind of evil power or some kind of arcane power. So let's go ahead and take that Blood of the Dragon. That sounds like an interesting place to end up. And then what we do is we take our 3 experience points, and these are kind of like a currency that you're going to use to spend. And then we're going to take a hero card. And the hero cards, these are special cards that you get during the game, and they can be spent at certain points. Now you have hero cards and you have anti-hero cards. And your character on your character card actually has kind of like a morality track on the side here. And you're going to start in the center, or in the neutral spot. And from the neutral spot, you can use hero or anti-hero cards. As you move up, you're only able to use hero cards. As you move down, you're only able to use anti-hero cards, but you're also going to lose points at the end of the game. And the way you move down is you can spend your experience to roll or to cast these dark runes, and those can cause you to go down. You're spending your experience points for a quest of power at all costs, and so you're kind of being corrupted as you move down this track. So I'm going to choose to take one of the hero cards. So give that a shuffle up, and these can be spent on a number of things. So this would be a brilliant plan. Play this card before you attempt a challenge. Add an extra wisdom or intelligence rune to your attempt. So that actually works out really well as my student and seeker of the truth. Now in a co-op or solo game, what you're also going to do is you're going to pick one of these adversaries to go up against. And you would draw one, I would draw one at random, and the Dark Rider. Okay, so the Dark Rider is going to be my adversary, and this is something I kind of have to keep track of. And then you have this card here for your solo mode. You put that underneath there, and the adversary is going to try to be gaining experience points as well. And if he ever has this many, which is 5 on his card, then the adversary wins the game. And then when attempting this challenge, and a challenge is how you beat cards. And so you have to try to defeat the Dark Rider at the very end of the game. It's kind of like a final boss. And then you're going to take this card here, and this card kind of shows you how this adversary acts during the game. So at the end of the game, his challenge rating is 6. That's going to go up to 2 is 8. Whenever you whenever I spend experience points or more, whenever I spend 8 an experience or more to cast a dark rune, the adversary gains a rune or an experience. And then whenever I gain dexterity, take a experience from this adversary. So if I exert myself, if I use my experience to cast dark runes, I become corrupt and it causes this adversary to become stronger. Now, to tell you the truth, I usually kind of end up ignoring this part of the game just because I want to just play through the game to gain the knowledge of my story. And so how that works is you have 3 different chapters of cards, and it's kind of like your 3 stages, 3 acts of your hero's life. This first act is dealing with your origin. This second act is dealing with your motivation. And then this third act has to do with your final destiny. And there are 2 different kinds of cards that you can pick up in each of the 2 first chapters. And those are traits. And traits will add certain story icons that you're going to kind of be, if you're working with points, you're going to kind of be collecting sets of. And then they will also give you stats for casting runes. And to pick up a trait, you have to meet the prerequisite. So if you want it to be rebellious, you can only gain this card if you gain one of the dark symbols for going down on the morality track or spend experience. In addition to the traits, there are also challenge cards, and these have 2 different ways to beat them. So you can train as a killer or train as a spy. This has a rating of 3, which you have to roll or cast 3 or more using dexterity and charisma to train as a spy, or you have to train as a killer. And if you train as a killer, it's 1 more difficult. So it would be a 4, and you have to use dexterity and charisma to become a killer. And if you become a spy, you get charisma. If you train as a killer, you get this tragedy icon, which again are story icons. You're going to be collecting as sets to get points, and you also become more dexterous. And basically the way you do your challenges is you take your 3 basic runes. Anything with a strike on it is a single success. This symbol here allows you to draw a hero or anti-hero card. And then you also look at any of the rune icons on your character card. And then those will tell you additional runes that you get to cast. So in this case, if I had a wisdom or intelligence test, I could add one of those or both to this test. But this is dexterity and charisma, so I can't use my knowledge as a student to become a member of the Thieves Guild. And so let's see what I would do. As a student, I'm going to say that I was an adventurous student, so I wanted to go out into the land in order to learn different things while exploring interesting areas. I wanted to learn like on the job, so to speak, as an adventurer. Okay, so I can only gain this trait if I have, what is that symbol? I always forget. The symbols are one of the main concerns I have about this game. So that is Constitution. So if I have a Constitution rune, which I don't, or I can spend XP. So I'm going to spend one of my 3 experience points to become adventurous. And then I place that under my card. So now I added a Constitution rune to my character, and I also got this adventure story icon. Okay, so now we're going to reveal the next card, which is Survive the Flames. it's a challenge. So, or I could heal the wounded. So like my city is burning down, the city that I lived in, the city that I'm going to school in, it's burning down. I can either just try to survive, or I can go into the city and try to heal the people who are wounded from the fire. And let's see what else I'm going to do. I'm going to say that as a student, I was adventurous and I was out on, learning something out in the land, discovering some secret ruin, and I came back and my town was on fire, and all I could do was just barely try to survive, okay? So I need to pass a challenge 3. So I take my 3 basic runes, and I do get to add 1 for my constitution. So I take 1 of the basic constitution runes, and I need to get 3 or more. So I can probably do it like this, but I think I'm going to go ahead and also spend an XP to add 1 of the dark runes. So I'm going to cast these now. All right. So I've got 1, 2. These symbols count as 2 successes. So there's 2, 3, 4. Okay. No success, and I get to draw a card. So that would give me divine favor. And then I pass that test. So then I could take this as surviving the flames, and then I could put that underneath like that. And basically you're going to do that 3 times per chapter. You're either going to pass a challenge, or you're going to take on a trait if you can. And so let's just keep going. Not playing the game, but just kind of doing like the story. Okay, so this is cool. So I was a student while out adventuring. My city caught on fire. I had to survive, and somebody I loved in the city died. So I had to like banish their ghost. Okay, and then the next part of my life, now we're in chapter 2, I became a seeker of truth. So that was a tragic event. I went out, kind of maybe joined a monastery or something in these mountains, and I needed to learn something about this person who died, or maybe who started the fire or something. And so I could actually, take this challenge, try to solve the mystery of the fire of my village. And then let's see, maybe there's a nice one, delve into darkness. And then maybe I had to lead an expedition into this strange land to try to find some magical relic that would help me solve that mystery. And I survived a harsh journey, but at what cost? And then we would get to our 3rd act, which would be our destiny act. So something happened that caused this crazy thing to happen to me as the blood of the dragon erupts from my body. I discovered some ancient knowledge about a demon, and I had to drive back a demon army, but it was difficult to do. People around me were praying for my deliverance. Could they help me? And then finally, like, some wicked sorceress came, and she's like an adversary also. Actually, she should have been pulled out of the deck, but let's say I fought the evil sorceress, and in doing so, I learned this magical ability that caused the blood of the dragon spell to erupt from my body. And so that's basically how you play the game. It's super simple, it's super fast, but as you can tell, just from looking at these cards, the art is so amazing. This art is just beautiful. It's, second only to like Gloom of Kilforth, maybe as good as Gloom of Kilforth, just because the cards are a little bigger, so you get a lot more detail. But these things are so evocative, and just they really reach into my mind and make me want to experience this story, make me want to craft the story of this hero's life. And there are also allies you can get. So certain ally cards will come, and then you have to put them behind a challenge, and you have to solve that challenge in order to get that ally. And in addition to allies, there are also, let's see, what are the other special cards? Oh, those were the adversaries. Sorry. So yeah, this game, I mean, you can play a game in like 30 minutes. You can set it up and play it in like 35-40 minutes. And you can, again, try to fight the final boss at the end if you want. But I like it just to play, just to develop a story in my head and to look at the art and to connect the dots. It's a really good it's like a good learning experience. It's a good game that helps you stretch your imagination and just kind of like reach back into those early days when you were a kid and you could really imagine a great and wondrous adventure unfolding just in your mind. And it's just awesome. I love this game. One of the best games I've played this year. Even though the game isn't very strong, the presentation, the overall feel, and the atmosphere and what this game does to me while I'm playing it really makes it stand out. So that was Call to Adventure, a game that I really love, and I'm looking forward to playing it and experiencing it a lot more in the coming years. So all right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.